Today is a Friday, and I ended up taking a 1 to 3 using mainly cycle alignment and two Kraken correlations. We didn't have a 90 minute, so I used this microcycle, and I got this question, and is it a valid microcycle? What just happened? So is this a valid microcycle if the low is on the border between M and D, and our low of D right here, you can see this is the cycle with ES, very prominent because it's with ES. Is this valid? Because it's technically both an M, and I say yes. Because if we're talking about fractal time, the midpoint of this is technically both. So if it's both, then it is M and D here. Sorry, I had these cycles mixed up on ES, but D in the distribution cycle come 9:45. This was our low getting swept, and since there was a deviation between that and the 30-second right here, had a market structure shift. I was in basically at that time because I'm not going to wait for a gap to be formed. I know that the market structure shift. This is like our market maker model with the order block on the 15-second high internal, which is created as a breaker. This is the body, the two candles before the low, and then our higher high. And we're trading inside of this until we moved up on structure. And on the 1 minute, you see how it holds very nicely. All the bodies are in there. And then we start to use the bodies precisely. Look at that on the 1 minute. Using that 15-second breaker, we're using the bodies precisely to move up. So I did not need a big gap to enter in off of. Mainly, I just went to the 30-second. I prefer 30 over 15. And I use this market structure shift. I wanted to enter around this block to get a decent stop entry because my stop here was 70 points. It was kind of big. So I traded three contracts, which is a $400 risk, and I exited right here for a 1, 2, 3 for 210 points, something like that. And you can see that we are in alignment with our 4-hour PO3. I could have held this longer, but really I saw this 10 a.m. SMT with ES as a possible reversal. And since it's Friday, we don't really have to go anywhere on a Friday. I mean, I thought high of day was likely, but over time, right? We got to give our 90-minute PO3 time, which means you have to wait for 10:30. And then we got to wait for 10:30 manipulation, which manipulation I saw as being higher to go down to possibly move up or down. And so I just didn't want to be in that. But looking at higher time frame, market structure, 15-minute breaker, if we narrow this down, and our cycles were actually wrong at first for a 90-minute. So I mentioned on the day how AMDX, I was really thinking bearish. So really this was an XA manipulation at low of day, creating our DC. Let me just mark this out. Bullish DC with YM. And no 90-minute whatsoever. 90-minute cycles. Oh, come on. It just took off all my confluences, all of my indicators. All right, well, no 90-minute cycle. So really what we went off of was the daily, the fact that we're in XA manipulation in manipulation at low of day, and then accumulation, manipulation in the microcycle, turning to distribution in the 90-minute and distribution in the daily cycle, which means we're going to pick up, close to our 10:30. 10 a.m. is going to be our expansion, which is a lower time frame microcycle expansion. We're just looking at cycles right now. Lower time frame expansion into the range, and then when distribution starts, this is when we wait for our new true microcycle open to give us the direction of the market. And the true microcycle open was right here. This opening price is actually right there. So this true microcycle open, if you waited there, it would be too late. So distribution, just know it's going to carry over. If you have the cycles right, if manipulation and manipulation and manipulation is low of day, and you see that in usually it's the opening 30-minute PO3, because this is how time frame aligns when we have XAMD, XAMD, and AMDX. So know when manipulation, triple manipulation is going to occur because likely it's 30-minute PO3. Hardly ever is it going to be 10 a.m. because 10 a.m. continues the trend or reverses 30-minute PO3, and then 90-minute PO3, 10:30 to 12, continues either the direction of 10 a.m. or it just kind of stays in the range. It usually always continues the direction of 10 a.m. because 4-hour and 90-minute candles are higher time frames, so they will basically have the same movement. 4-hour candle ends at, when does a 4-hour candle end? 2 p.m. So that would be like 2 hours after our 90-minute candle ends, which is like another 1 90-minute candle. So kind of going on about this, but time-based exits, I talk about this all the time. So I usually have exits at 2 p.m. or getting close to X 11:30 because we might just expand lower in the range since we hit our prominent target high of day. So stuff like that. Then is really the reason why I was able to take more money out of the market today, because I guarantee you I probably would have got stopped out here or closed it because I wanted to get at least a decent winning day, at least like take away a 1 to 2. And I was up 1 to 4 here. Like I was up 1 to 4. It was so close to 1 to 5. So kind of unfortunate that we got stopped or we closed the trade. But just that kind of day, I didn't want to hold. So I couldn't be emotional. I couldn't wait for it to hit my limit, and I just had to exit because I had the money in the account. I had the money on the screen, so better to exit now. Let's get into our more refined entries. Regular trading hours was really nice because it gave us a small gap. New daily opening gap, regular trading hours. I saw this as generated high liquidity just because it's right there. And that's also kind of what I use to exit because we're in that new weekly opening gap. And this is just kind of a point where we would reverse to have an expansion into the range. But regular trading hours wasn't really, okay, let's take that off. It wasn't really the most confluenced way to get in today. Usually if it's like at the bottom we get SMT, then sure. But we couldn't use it for shorts today. We just kind of moved off of, like I said, the 2-minute, the 3-minute in opening PO3, like this 2-minute right here, which is really a cleaner 3-minute. So I was watching that, being patient, waiting for some sort of crack correlation near low of day because I knew that was the next target after we broke this low. Because I was first looking at this thinking, okay, we might enter in off of this. It was a 90-minute cycle. And then I realized that it's YM. Like, who cares about YM cracking correlations most of the time? But since ES was turning with NQ, I thought that YM would follow because their structure, like, it's pretty similar today. Some days it's uncorrelated and it's just complete opposites. But today it was the same. So I waited. First presented, got created right here, inversed, and we used it beautifully to trade up. And that was probably a great 2 minutes. No, it wasn't a 2-minute. Not even a 3-minute. So just a 1-minute. Just this lower 1 minute right here. Using the first presented could have got you an actually really good RR entry if you didn't get in at the bottom. Using this, we have confirmation. They're moving higher. I put my stop like 52, probably like 68 points, honestly, at CE of this because we could wick down. But if you want to minimize risk, then for value gap, the candle after right there, yeah, it'd kind of be the same. Usually you want the candle low, usually the body of this candle that creates a fair value gap to have your stop loss because it's a safe stop. But this is like such a tight range, and that's why I entered in on the 30-second because reading the 30-second today gave me a lot of help not waiting for each 1-minute close for like really the patience to wait for this smart money reversal, which is where we had the microcycle paired with our daily cycle, paired with gap alignment, which really wasn't all that much except for I thought that we had already bounced price into the range. Our daily, like really this daily order block, the lowest I'd want to see it go would be CE of this, and it went to the upper quadrant. So like this is the discount that I was looking at. It wasn't even at CE of this daily order block, but it's just the upper quadrant. So it was mainly a reading price action kind of day because we only had 2 cracking correlations along with our cycle alignment, which I was honestly just wrong on in the beginning because I couldn't read. Holy crap, we're dumping off that high. But I just couldn't read it as well in the beginning. So I had to switch up my cycles quickly and then realize, okay, we got to wait for this to possibly pay out. But really, I entered in immediately after this held above this order block. We got a close above CE of this range. Once you got to close above that, I was in. It was a kind of a bad fill, but I was still in it. And it kind of gave me a little bit bigger of a stop loss, but I wasn't going to add cons to it, even though I tightened up around like 9:55, 56, which it started to choose a direction to go in. And the only thing stopping us was, like I said, this 5 minutes right here before it turned into a 15-minute breaker. Right here, we had this 5 minute that was just kind of needed to be ran through pretty quickly within that next 5 minute candle. I mean, even waiting for that 15-minute candle is too late because it'd be 10 a.m. So it needed to move quickly, and if it was going to choose a direction, if that was the low of the market for the 30-minute PO3, what did we have? We had we had probably 4 minutes left after this, 6 minutes left after inversing the first presented. So I held through 10 a.m. It should have just ran immediately, which I kind of wanted. I honestly I was patient, but I was thinking about having this as just my winning day take profit. Because we are in discount in the range, we're rejecting the new weekly opening gap, but true New York is not mitigated. We had this hidden 90, which didn't mean much today, but it was a reason for us to sell shorter into OTE of the daily range, the overnight range. So that was the reason, that was the logic behind moving into discount to move higher, but we didn't even create, I mean, the DC off of YM was enough, but I would have liked it to be on ES with NQ because it would have just been more obvious, and entering was mainly based on my model and instinct, like the instinct to enter at that time because I don't want to wait, and that's the best time. Even though I didn't even wait for a gap to be filled, I was using 30-second order block structure, which I hardly ever do. It's more something that I would do if there is no gap because I know there's a gap in there. It's just on a smaller time frame, but I'm not going to the 15 or the 5 minute, or sorry, the 5 second. Not doing that shit. No way. So, very good entry. Exit was well managed. Retracing and holding to the high. If you had stops break even, you'd still be in this. Like, realistically, you would still be in this. So, good trade, good analysis. And this retraced like perfect OTE. 0.705 was almost bottom tick. It was bottom tick on ES right here, and this is really where I thought we were going to start reversing from, but there's no crack correlation at the low, so you had to wait. But this new daily opening gap, this small little white box right here, is what I was looking for a pivot off of since True Day Open was mitigated on all assets, but there's no crack correlation. That's why I was bearish at first, because we had the daily. That was the biggest thing, rejecting the new weekly opening gap on ES, or sorry, on Q, and ES wasn't even close to it. Like, high of the week should be protected is what I thought, because YM swept it, but possibly not. So anyway, that is our trade recap today. Still not like an A plus trade, but good enough to enter in off of for the RR, and the direction of the market was clear. It was mainly that the crack correlation was really minor, and so you have to be quick, and it was gonna be that one trade today, and there would be no other opportunity because that would really choose the direction to take out buy side, and if we're gonna take out sell side, then I have no clue what we're gonna take because that bullish DC was in place. Like, this is the only way to go is up right now, which I had to overcome my short bias, which was fine. It happened pretty quickly because your model basically tells you when to enter. So that'll be it for the video. I'll see you guys next week. Take a good break and be ready for the charts come Monday morning.